Subscribe for more shitty content.
And like the video so I get more views. Thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is eSportsMoney, ZSM, Mac10, whatever you want to call me, and welcome to my guide to jungling Phantom Assassin, or PA, in patch 7.06F. So, I get a little bit sick every time that I have to say 7.06F. It's one of the reasons I haven't been making as many guides lately. I am waiting for the 2 new heroes to come, and I am waiting to see what changes come to the game, and hopefully to the jungle as well, so that I can get into the meat of that and start producing content for what is essentially a new game. When we get a big enough patch, the game feels like a different game. So anyway, jungling PA in this patch is not as good as it was in patch 7.065, or whatever, 7.05. In patch 7.05, you could get a Battle Fury about the same time as a anti-mage in lane. It's not as easy as that anymore, but you can get a Mask of Madness relatively easily, and that's what I'm going to be working toward in this video. So the thing about Mask of Madness that's great is it accelerates your farm in addition to giving you more fighting ability, and PA is also a hero that doesn't care very much about physical damage, because if you have a maxed passive Blur, then you have a 50% chance to evade damage anyway. So Mask of Madness is very efficient on her. She's a hero that, due to the mechanics of the hero, Mask of Madness is an inherently strong, kind of an inherently broken item on the hero, similar to the way that it works on a Medusa. You can think of them in the same thing. They have something that reduces the 50% of all physical damage essentially removed because you have 50% chance to dodge, and because of that, the increased damage that you take from having the reduced armor from Mask of Madness is less relevant. Also, PA is an agility hero, so PA is going to have a lot of armor anyway, and Mask of Madness is great for farming and fighting because it increases your movement speed and attack speed and gives you life steal. So it increases the speed at which you neutral in addition to increasing the speed at which you fight. In this video, I think it takes me upwards of... it's sub 10 minutes for sure, but it was pretty late. The fastest I've got on this hero is about 8:30, 8 minutes, somewhere in that area. The way that I do that, though, requires me to skip buying a salve and use the shrine, so if you want to be that guy, then you can not buy the salve and use the shrine. And then if that were the case, I would have been using my tangos more readily earlier on, so that I wouldn't have gotten low to begin with and needed the salve. Because now I can use the tangos as well, and overall, combining those two regen items basically just nullifies my need for the shrine. So after I get Mask of Madness, I'm going to be looking at Desolator and Phase Boots, my 2 next items. I'm going to get the Blightstone, and then I'm going to build into Phase Boots. I'm actually going to go Brown Boots, Blightstone, and then completed Phase Boots. Blightstone reduces armor by 2, and a lot of people don't realize the way that armor works, but the less armor you have, the more that -2 armor means. Having -2 armor earlier in the game is a big deal, because armor is based on a percentage of your total damage, and PA has those big crits with her coup de grace, so you want to have the Blightstone, you want to have that minus armor. As far as skill build goes, in the jungle and moving on, I typically get 1 point in W at level 2, and then I'm going to get a point in Blur at level 1 and 3. And the reason for this is your W is relatively low cost and deals out a lot more damage than a level 1 dagger, Stifling Dagger. So your W has its cooldown reduced for every point you put into it, but that's about it, which makes it a very obvious choice as a skill that you don't want to put points into except for a single value point. Meanwhile, Stifling Dagger is an ability that I try to put as many points in as possible, because it not only increases the damage significantly, but at level 4 it actually costs half as much mana as at level 1. It only costs 15 mana, and it's a wonderful slow. So the order of operations when you initiate on someone is Stifling Dagger, Phantom Strike, and then use your Mask of Madness, because remember, Mask of Madness does silence you, so then you won't be able to Stifling Dagger them. The movement slow of 50% also lasts for 4 seconds at level 4, and it only lasts for 1 second at level 1. It's one of the best scaling spells in the game, so like, it's one of the best spells in the entire game to have 4 points in, and it's one of the worst spells in the entire game to not have 4 points in, or to only have a single point in. It also puts any modifiers on your enemy. So as you probably know, you have the ability to crit to hit with your coup de grace and then do additional damage. And basically the percentage crit chance applies with the Stifling Dagger for the Stifling Dagger damage. At level 4, the nuke does 65 damage plus 70% of your attack damage. But it also applies modifiers. So that Blightstone I've been talking about, that debuff is actually applied if you have the item in your inventory and then you Stifling Dagger on someone. So it's an incredibly good spell. It also is True Strike. It's an incredibly powerful ability if you have 4 points into it, but it's one of the most worthless abilities around if you only have a single point into it. It has incredibly good scaling. So Blur is your evasion, of course. It starts with 20% chance to evade at level 1, which gives it a minor value proposition, and then 30% level 2, 40% level 3, and 50% level 4. And evasion stacks diminishingly, so if you have a Butterfly and you have Blur, then you have, I don't know which order they're detected in, but you have a 50% chance for an attack to hit you, and then if that roll, it falls in the 50% that says you're going to take damage, then PA's Butterfly will have a roll, and you'll have another 35% out of 100 to dodge that attack as well. So further evasion is not terrible on her, but it's typically not a good idea because people are going to go for MKB against you because they need it to do any damage to you whatsoever if they are physical damage based. So by level 7, I'll typically have 2 points in Blur, 1 point in W, 3 points in Q, finishing up my Q with 4 points in it by level 8, and of course a point in my ultimate. You will always level the ultimate no matter... if you aren't getting a point in your ultimate when you can, it's a mistake. It's one of the best ultimates around. At level 4, it does 450% of your normal damage. So as far as talents go, it's largely up to you. I would say if you're against a lot of magic damage, then probably go for the 150 health at level 10, but 15 damage is pretty good on the hero. But 150 health, the hero doesn't have a lot of health, so 150 health is not bad. At level 15, you can choose between plus 20 movement speed and 10% lifesteal. You have a Mask of Madness, but you should still be getting that lifesteal anyway, because now you're getting into territory where you have so much lifesteal that the damage that you do isn't just about sustaining yourself while you're farming neutrals. You can actually man-fight and keep yourself alive during head-on engagements much more easily now because you have like 27% lifesteal, something like that. It's huge. It's a ridiculous amount of lifesteal. At level 20, this one is a little bit more up to you because you have plus 10 stats or plus 35 attack speed. Plus 10 stats I think is a bit better because that's already going to give you a decent bit of attack speed because you're getting agility out of it, and you're going to get 10 damage, and you're going to get health, and you're going to get int. So generally speaking, I would say go with the stats, but if you're in a situation where you have a lot of experience but not a lot of money for some reason, then the attack speed might be good because then you can use it to accelerate your farm in the jungle. But again, you already have Mask of Madness, so plus 10 stats is probably the way to go. Level 25, the Double Strike Stifling Dagger or the 25 Agility. I think in more practical situations, I think the 25 Agility talent is going to be more practical in pretty much every situation, but there will be some fun instances in which you might want to go for the dagger. I mean, you're probably going to want to go for the dagger quite a bit, but it's fun, but it's not very good. So if you're winning already, then go for the Stifling Dagger, but generally speaking, I think the agility is going to be more fun. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Hey guys, Esports Money's here again, and we're going to be looking a little bit at the Dire for the rest of this video. Mechanics are going to be pretty similar in terms of decisions as well. It's going to be pretty similar to the Radiant side. However, on this side, you're going to basically you're going to have to be as conservative as possible because it's very, very, very difficult to do correctly on the Dire side. Now you're probably looking at this and think, but you can make that weird choke point over on the part of the jungle that has the like on the eastern half of the map. You could be jungling there over by those ancients and those small camps. Yeah, but the choke is not as good, and if you get a hard camp that does a lot of damage, or if you get the large troll camp, then you're just going to die. So I prefer to do it over here. I'm going to, a lot of times, even at level 5, I'm going to be considering putting a point into my blur because I don't want to die. I have to get my salve every single time on this side. I have to get a Stout Shield every single time on this side. And by the way, Stout Shield is a great item on the hero because you can build it into a Vanguard and then a Abyssal Blade later on. But either way, I do not recommend doing this on the Dire side. It's just not as good. It feels clunkier, you take a lot of damage. It's not impossible. It will put you back by a few minutes, not that long, but it will put you back to the point where it goes from this is questionable at best to this is probably garbage. So thank you guys again for watching. If you like these videos, if you like this video, hit those like and subscribe button. It helps reference the video better on YouTube and brings more viewers to this cancer.
It's time to stop! It's time to stop, okay? No more! Where the fuck are your parents? Who are your parents? I'm gonna call Child Protective Services. It's time to stop!